Hey guys, I've had my R8 for a couple months now and I absolutely love this car, but I've driven it enough to find a couple things that I really dislike about it. I haven't filmed one of these videos in quite a while, but I think it'd be really cool to talk about some of the things I dislike and border upon hate about my Audi R8 V10. First things first, I can show this in the garage, is the doors. The doors are extremely wide. Obviously it's a two-door, it's a coupe, and as such, they are very, very long doors. So right now, this is a normal size two-car garage with two cars wide right here. And just trying to open my door and open it up and get in is quite difficult. So there's these like notches. You can open it up and it stops at one of the locks, right? And that's pretty much it. Anything more, you'd hit the other car next to you. And this is not that wide of an opening to get into it. This car is pretty low. I'll show it later when I'm not in the garage, but this door opens up crazily wide. And you also note, I'm pretty much parked up against this wall. I usually get closer, but like you could not open this door over here on this side. Same thing with the other R8 on this side. Like you really can't get in on either side. So the doors are exceptionally wide, makes it kind of difficult to get into. So since this is pretty much as wide as you go, you kind of got to hold it shut with one hand. Got to do this weird contortion thing as you kind of go in this way and try not to ruin your side bolsters, and then you gotta kind of pull your foot this way, and then you're in the R8. Ugh, getting out is equally difficult because you definitely do not want to push the door into the car next to you. So it's a little more difficult for me because I'm pretty tall, 6'3", with longer legs. But I mean, these doors are really long, they open out really wide, and it is kind of really irritating. Like when you park in a parking spot, you have to be careful how wide you open them. You gotta hold them shut with one hand as you're trying to get in. Some supercars that have longer doors like this solve it by having doors that go up. My i8 had butterfly doors, McLarens have their dihedral doors, Aventadors have scissor doors that go up. Because if you think about it, the actual length of the door might not change, but if it rotates upwards, the distance out from the car horizontally is fine. It was so much easier to park my i8 and get into it. Same thing with any McLaren. The doors open so much more vertically rather than outward. It's just a thing of coupes that have really long doors. Kind of really frustrating. Next up is going to be the trunk space. So because the R8 is mid-engine, the engine is obviously in the back, and the only trunk space is up here in the front. So it actually doesn't look too horrible in this shot right now, but literally if you put two backpacks in, or like a backpack and a duffel bag, it is completely full. The all-wheel drive system really interferes with the front trunk space. You call it a front trunk, whatever. Either way, this and the Lamborghinis are very similar in terms of they just don't have that much storage space. Now, you could say you didn't buy an R8 for practicality and storage and everything, but similar cars of equivalent status, performance, packaging, like a McLaren or a Ferrari, are way, way better. Porsches too. Those, I think, a big thing is it's rear-wheel drive. So there's less hardware up front. There's no mechanical, there's no differential, there's no a lot of stuff up here, so they get more practicality in terms of a deeper trunk, and it's a lot wider. The R8s and the Lamborghini Gallardos, the Huracans, really struggle with this. And I mean, I wouldn't complain too much because, I mean, look at it, it's a two-door sports car, supercar. But this car was kind of billed as more of a daily driver, more friendly, usable supercar type of thing, in which case its practicality kind of sucks. Little add-on is on the convertible, there was no parcel shelf behind the rear seats. It just ends right there. On the coupes, there's actually a decent-sized shelf on the back. You can kind of see it back there in the coupe, where you can actually put stuff on there. But practicality and storage on the R8 kind of does suck, and I kind of hated it because I wanted to take it on a road trip, and I was like, you know, we're not going to fit many things in here. Let's just take the M3 instead, which was much more practical. Something else I really don't like is that this car has no front lift. Now, it's not as low as some of the other things out there. It's a little more friendly, but it's still very, very low. The only saving grace is this front splitter here, which is carbon fiber on mine, is something you'd want to protect. Actually arches up a little bit towards the front. Front overhang isn't horrible, but it has scraped before. I usually take all curves very slowly, very carefully. The Lamborghinis do get a front lift. I don't know why they didn't opt it on the R8. Maybe cost savings, but it would be really nice because it's still a low supercar. Going up and down driveways or over large speed bumps, you have to be very, very careful, and it does not have a front lift. if mine is completely still stock in terms of aerodynamics. So, but if you put a front splitter on it, like this one has, you got to be really careful. This thing scrapes all the time, just leaving the driveway. It's much too low. Same thing with the diffuser. You just be really careful. But for some reason, the R8s, I don't think the new one either has them. No generation of R8 comes with a front hydraulic lift. Before we hop in the car, one other thing I absolutely hate about the R8 is the key fob. It's this little thing here. It feels really cheap. It looks kind of crappy. No R8 badging on it. It just has an Audi badge on this side. On the other side, lock, unlock the front trunk. It's still a flip-out key. There's no push-button start in this car. It just honestly is like the same thing as you was getting like a Volkswagen Jetta or like a Golf from the same generation. For a car that was so expensive, you'd think they would use something a little more premium that feels a little bit nicer. The crazy thing is Audi still uses this key fob. I believe the RS3 still comes with this key, this exact same fob. I hate it. I think it's really dumb because like it's kind of nice to have a quality key to your vehicle. Honestly, I prefer the key fob to my Audi S4. It's the newer updated one. This key fob for the R8 sucks. I hate it. All right, the last thing I hate about the Audi R8 lives right back here. It's the audio cable. So I currently have it plugged into an iPod Touch that I'm pretty sure I got in middle school many, many years ago. So back then, Audi utilized this proprietary cable. It plugs in right there. They did not have USB nor auxiliary. You couldn't plug in just a 3.5mm audio jack for music. It has Bluetooth for phone calls, but not Bluetooth for streaming. So if you want to listen to your own music, you had to get this little cable thing. This car came equipped with it from the factory. It was like $150 for this little cable to plug into an ancient iPod, that type of Apple jack right there. They sell different things where you can plug in and utilize Bluetooth, just a little dongle that goes in there and you can Bluetooth your modern device to it, or you can actually, there's an adapter that sells it and go through a 3.5mm audio cable. That's what Nick has in his R8 Coupe. I have this ancient iPod Touch. It actually still runs Spotify, which is what I listen to play music, and I've got that cable, so I kind of stick that and utilize it. But it's like, really guys, come on, this was a $187,000 car and it doesn't have Bluetooth music. It doesn't even have an aux port. That's what blows me away the most. It was back when Volkswagen was being really stubborn and they insisted on utilizing all of their proprietary cable things for all the vehicles out there. It's really dumb. I think it's dumb. It really pisses me off, but I've got this iPod that kind of works. There we go. 5 things I hate about my Audi R8 V10. These things add up to not really spoil the experience. I still love this car, but on their own, they're things that are really frustrating because I deal with them every single time I drive the car. I want to put 2 backpacks in the front. I pick up my girlfriend to go somewhere or something, or go take this grocery shopping, which I like doing. I know people think that's dumb, but it's actually kind of funny. It's horrible. If you want to take it on a road trip, you can't really pack that much into it. The doors are really wide. Getting in and out is difficult. You have to be very careful where you park. And in the garage, it's you have to be like a contortionist to get out and be really flexible, which I am not. What are the other things for a recap? The key fob, every time you unlock the car, start the car, it's like, really? Come on. That's kind of lame right there. And then, what was the last thing? The front lift, you should be very careful when driving it. I've scraped it a couple times. I'm trying not to ruin my carbon fiber splitter. I don't know if I want to put a giant aggressive front splitter like Nick has on his, because it literally just scrapes everywhere. The underside of his has no clear coat left, and he's careful with it. I mean, we drive lowered cars all the time. Roads in Michigan just kind of suck, and driveways just suck to get up and down. Overall, though, still very much loving my R8. I'm going to film a video talking about the 5 best things about owning one of these, but there are 5 definite serious downsides to this car. They really can't be fixed, but they are what they are. Overall, would still highly recommend one of these vehicles. I love them. Hope you guys like this video. Thanks for watching.